Okay. Okay.
Well, welcome. I am honored to be here and honored to have this group present today. I want to thank Secretary King and Dr. Wise for this opportunity. My name is Candace McQueen, and I'm our Tennessee Commissioner of Education, and thrilled to be on a community college campus today here in Pellissippi. I'm also proud today that Tennessee is the first state in the country to have taken leadership in removing our financial barriers to post-secondary for all of our students, all students in Tennessee. So it's a remarkable moment where we get a chance to talk more about that with our students today. My job now in the role that I have in K-12 is to ensure that what we do in K-12 truly aligns to this opportunity that we have in Tennessee. Our strategic plan that we put forth about 12 months ago, called Tennessee Succeeds, develops an alignment to ensure that students have confidence and competence going into their community college or College of Applied Technology experience. And so I look forward to hearing from you about how we can do that even better. We know that the country has been watching our state for some time as we continue to be the fastest improving state in the nation on the nation's report card, and now we have even new opportunities for our students to access higher education. I'm honored that we have post-secondary partners in the work who have been so willing to create the opportunity to open doors for every single student in our state. Dr. Wise has been partnering with Tennessee Promise from the beginning, actually back when it was Knox Achieves, and I'm grateful that his student-centered focus has led him here and continuing to be a partner with us. To introduce Dr. Wise, he has been the president of Pellissippi State Community College since 2011. He's overseen the college's participation in Knox Achieves, Tennessee Achieves, and now Tennessee Promise. He welcomed President Barack Obama, Vice President Joe Biden, and Jill Biden to campus in January of 2015 for the unveiling of America's College Promise. So with that, I'll turn it over to Dr. Wise.
Great. Thank you, Commissioner McQueen. So it's great to see everybody here this afternoon. Thought I might start with a story. So, and a lot of you may know this story, but I don't know if you know it. So 8 or 9 years ago, a meeting took place between a local entrepreneur and the county mayor. The entrepreneur, who in the past has described himself as a dog fence peddler, had a vision for making this community the most pet-friendly community in the United States of America. The mayor was willing to help in those efforts, but like all good politicians, he had an ask in return. Would the entrepreneur be willing to support the establishment of a privately funded last dollar scholarship program so the county's high school graduates could attend the region's community and technical colleges? Pellissippi State, Rome State, Walters State, the Tennessee College of Applied Technology. They enlisted the support of the city mayor, who's now the governor of the state of Tennessee, Bill Haslam, a couple of other businessmen and philanthropists, and launched Knox Achieves. The key elements of the program were established. Each student would submit an application in order to participate. They would attend mandatory meetings at their high schools. They would meet deadlines for completing the FAFSA. They would work with a mentor and complete 8 hours of community service for each semester enrolled in the program. Knox Achieves quickly found its target audience in that 65% of the participants were first-generation college students, and 70% came from families earning less than $50,000 a year. The success of students in this program, they were retained and completed at rates higher than the average at the state's community and technical colleges. First saw expansion statewide, first as a privately funded Tennessee Achieves, and then as a legislatively enacted Tennessee Promise. The key program elements, which I think of as student responsibility, mentorship, service, have remained the same since the very beginning. But the funding is now derived from a state endowment of excess lottery funds. The Tennessee Promise became the cornerstone piece in the state's drive to 55. The idea that by the year 2025, 55% of Tennesseans need some type of post-secondary degree. The focus on student success sparked by this notion of a promise has been one of the key factors in increased success at the state's community and technical colleges. If we look back at Pellissippi State in the academic year 2008-9, and this is the year before Knox Achieve started, we were an institution with an enrollment of 8,608 students. We had 3 students that year graduate with technical certificates, and 670 complete associate degrees. If we look at the last academic year, the 2015-16 academic year at Pellissippi State, we find a college of 10,325 students, over 1,000 certificate completions, and 1,432 associate degrees. Although Chrissy, D'Alejandro, and I debate how big a role Knox Achieves and Tennessee Promise had in this, it certainly had a very significant role in this notion of not only providing access to students, but real opportunities for success. Many of the folks involved in the legislative approval of the Tennessee Promise are in a special session of the Legislature's General Assembly today, but Chrissy D'Alejandro, who's the Executive Director of Tennessee Achieves, is with us. She's been with the program from the very beginning. She now coordinates the efforts to ensure every high school graduate has the opportunity to fulfill their potential through the state's technical and community colleges. She would want me to rightfully acknowledge the critical role that mentors play in the success of our students. And if you have not yet volunteered to mentor students in the class of 2017, she'll be at the door and sign you up before you leave campus today. Tennessee needs 9,000 mentors to work with the 60,000 high school students who will start down the path of Tennessee Promise this fall. So take advantage to volunteer. Given the statewide success of the Tennessee Promise, perhaps we should not have been surprised, although I certainly was. President Obama, Vice President Biden, and Dr. Jill Biden chose Pellissippi State to announce their America's College Promise initiative. Following in the footsteps of the Tennessee Promise, it would allow students across the nation to attend community college free of tuition. Programs like the Tennessee Promise allow many of our students to come to college and complete a diploma, certificate, or degree when otherwise they couldn't. Sharing the table with Dr. King and me today are 6 students who are here because Tennessee Promise gives them an opportunity they might not otherwise have had. They've been given a promise that college will be affordable. When these students step through the doors at Pellissippi State, we make a promise to them as well. We promise that we will help them find their own unique path to success and give them the support they need to stay on course towards their degree and their dreams. Whether they want to be a mortician or an entrepreneur, a teacher or a physical therapist, a nurse or a maintenance technician, we do our best to give them a promising start on the rest of their lives. I believe that's what community and technical college is about. That's what the state of Tennessee is about. That's what Pellissippi State is about. And frankly, I think that's what a promise is about. So it's a real pleasure to welcome all of you here today to discuss the impact that Tennessee Promise has had on our students. And I look forward to hearing from the 6 we have gathered here today. It's also my pleasure to introduce U.S. Secretary of Education, John King. King has been Secretary of Education since January, and prior to that served as Principal Senior Advisor at the Department of Education, overseeing all preschool through 12th grade policies, programs, and initiatives. Before his work at the Department of Education, King helmed the New York State Education Department, where he was the first African American and Puerto Rican to serve as New York State Education Commissioner. He's also been the Managing Director at Uncommon Schools and co-founded the nationally recognized Roxbury Preparatory Charter School in Boston. He began his career in education as a high school social studies teacher in Puerto Rico and Boston. Having lost his parents at a young age, he found in public education in the New York City schools teachers who provided transformational educational opportunities and the support and that powered his belief in the central role of education in the American dream. He has a bachelor's degree from Harvard, a JD from Yale, and a master's degree from Columbia. So I don't know what he does during Ivy League sports. But it's our great honor to host this visit and my great privilege to ask you to welcome Secretary King.
Thank you, President Wise, for the warm introduction. Thank you, Commissioner McQueen, for joining us today, and thank you all for being here. It's an honor to be here at Pellissippi State, to have the opportunity to celebrate the work that is happening here and that's happening in Tennessee on delivering on the promise of higher education opportunity for all young people. That's been a priority for the President from the outset of the administration. The President has a long and deep commitment to access, affordability, and completion in higher education. Thanks to the President's leadership, we moved $60 billion that would have gone to banks, to students through the direct loan program, increased Pell Grants by $1,000, created the American Opportunity Tax Credit, helping make college affordable for families, invested in initiatives like First in the World, which are incentivizing higher ed institutions to focus on completion, because as all of us understand, It's not enough just for students to get to college. We need them to get through college with meaningful degrees ready to compete in the 21st century economy. The President is trying to add to that record of progress with America's College Promise, and we want to build on what's happening here in Tennessee. We proposed to Congress the idea that hardworking students in every state should have the opportunity to go on to community college for free, and that we should really make community college 2 years of higher education as universal as K through 12 education. Indeed, America's economic competitiveness is in part grounded in the decision we made more than a century ago to make universal access to high school a reality, and we should take the same approach today to higher education. We also need to continue to work to ensure that students who begin their higher education have all the support they need to complete their higher education. We were once first in the world in college completion. Today, we are 13th. If we want to close that gap, we need to make sure that students have the supports necessary to graduate. So America's College Promise is not just about affordability, it is also about completion. It's about ensuring that students have access to the mentors, the supports, the co-requisite classes, if necessary, to make progress in their college education. And so we hope that we can work with Congress to adopt America's College Promise. We also propose a number of initiatives that would support completion at places like this one, where we would make available Pell dollars for students to continue their study in the summer. We think that's an important priority, and we have, that's right, you should applaud that. We think that's an important priority, and we look forward to working with Congress to make that happen. I know Senator Alexander is certainly very supportive of that. We've also proposed an incentive where students who complete 15 or more credits each semester would get a $300 incentive, because we know that students who stay on track to on-time graduation are much more likely to persist through to graduation with a quality degree. We've also proposed institutional incentives to reward higher ed institutions that focus on enrolling Pell-eligible students and ensuring they get to graduation. So we have an ambitious agenda. I know there's a few sports fans in Tennessee, and sports fans know that big things happen in the fourth quarter. In fact, big things happen up until the last second of games. And so our mindset in the administration is that we are going to keep at it to make big things happen on behalf of students up until the last moment on January 20th of 2017. And we appreciate the opportunity to lift up the example of Tennessee and the work that you are doing to make higher education a reality for students. Just in the last year and a half since the President was here making the announcement about America's College Promise, more than 30 communities around the country have committed to their own promise initiatives. And so this example is moving the country even as we continue to work to move our colleagues in Congress. So appreciate the opportunity to talk with you all. Look forward to learning from our students in particular what supports make a difference for you and what Tennessee's promise has meant for you. Thanks.
All right, great. My name is Matt Capri. I'm the Director of Engagement and Advocacy with the College Promise Campaign. We run Heads Up America, which is a national nonprofit organization building a movement around this idea of free community college for all hardworking students. And we were inspired by Tennessee Promise and by the President's proposal, America's College Promise. We actually celebrated our 1-year anniversary on Friday, and it's such a great time to mark all of the growth, as Secretary King mentioned. Over 30 new programs across the country. There are now programs in 37 states that offer free community college, and so many more students are able to benefit from it. So I'm really happy to be here to help moderate a conversation with our students here in Pellissippi who do benefit from free community college, and to hear what it's meant to you and sort of what more could be done to help students like you not only get to college but stay and finish your degrees. So why don't we start with each of you taking a turn, starting with you, Taylor, and sharing just your name, your major, and what this program has meant to you personally.
My name is Taylor Bullard. I am a business major here at Pellissippi, and the promise really means a lot to me. It's opened a pathway in my life that I might have not have had because there was no promise. And I'm just really appreciative because it's a whole new pathway that's been opened up in my life.
Great. Tristan?
My name is Tristan Winters. I'm from Apostolic Christian School of Knoxville. Tennessee Promise does mean a lot to me as well. Without Tennessee Promise and without my mentor, Amanda Bolden, I would have not been where I'm at now with the knowledge that I've gained of just being in community college because my parents did not go.
My name is Anyra Morrison, and I'm an education major. And I think the Tennessee Promise has benefited me because I'm one of the first in line that got a scholarship. So I think it just creates my pathway to get further into a career that I'm going through.
Great. Paige?
My name is Paige Lann, and I am an education major here at Pellissippi. And this means to me that it gives me a chance to be debt-free while getting a better skills than what I need for life.
I'm Gabriel Hayes. I'm an Associate of Science major, and quite frankly, if I didn't have Tennessee Promise, I'd probably be paying off college loans right now, and it just gives me more opportunities. Heck, I might not even be in college right now if this program wasn't available.
Thank you. Gail?
My name is Makayla Edwards, and I am studying mechanical engineering and technology. And the program for free community college has further helped me expand my career so I can go further into school, past my bachelor's, past my master's. So I'm very grateful for this program.
Great, thanks to all of you. So one of the things that we know is that Tennessee Promise students are more likely to get better grades and to persist from one semester to the next. And I think part of that, part of the answer as to why that is happening is this next question. How do you think Promise programs and the financial aid you all have received has helped you to balance your work here in the classroom and then at home and if you have a part-time job at your workplace? How do you think it's helped kind of create more balance in your life there? And any of you can jump in. I'd like to start.
Well, I don't have to work a full-time job just to be able to pay the bills. That's certainly very helpful to me. I don't know if any of you else have full-time jobs or just part-time, but it gives me more time to focus on my studies and just to get more out of what I'm taking here at Pellissippi.
Great. It sounds like, talking to some of you beforehand, a number of you do some volunteer work outside the classroom. And not just to meet your minimum requirements to participate in Promise. So maybe talk about, Tristan, why don't you share about your experience as a volunteer and sort of whether or not you think that would be possible if you didn't have access to Promise?
Yeah, me and a few friends came together about 2 years ago and started a charity called Beds for Kids. Beds for Kids is an organization where we provide beds to kids who are either sleeping on the floor or sleeping on some other type of inadequate bedding in our surrounding areas. We deliver about 2 beds every Saturday to 2 different families. And without Tennessee Promise, like Gabriel said, he would have to have a full-time job, putting in more hours. I wouldn't have the time to work with other businesses and those who can donate more money to help our vision for Knoxville, Tennessee.
Great. Yeah, thank you. And can we do a show of hands? Which of you do work a part-time job right now? All right, that's what I expected. Yeah, so I can imagine how things would be different for all of you without access to the Promise. If you were each king or queen or whatever for the day, how would you change sort of financial aid process and make sure that it better supports students? And again, anybody can jump in.
Well, students, you have this abundance of high school graduates coming out, and I feel like there's maybe like a lack of direction and focus. So they're taking all these gen ed classes and, maybe changing their major a few times, which heck, I have done. But I think that, we should keep with the community service hours to support this program, but maybe also have internship hours as well to help direct them to what career they want to go in instead of going on like this path of gen eds and crazy electives.
Great. Anybody else want to jump in on that?
I kind of agree with Makayla because I know I've changed my education, or my major from education to many other things. And like, I know that if we had internships or some kind of other goal-oriented thing, or interest or something, that it would be a lot easier.
Yeah. And have any of you, your experience with your mentors, has that been helpful as you sort of navigate what you want to do and sort of figure out what what opportunities you want to take advantage of here at Pellissippi?
Yeah, like I mentioned before about my mentor Amanda, she's been awesome. Without her, I wouldn't be more focused on my calling to do physical therapy, and she's been there for me for the whole past, well, this will be my second year, so the past 2 years she's been there for me, and I email her once to twice a week and bug her about if everything's up to date, if there's anything I need to do, and she'll just text me back and laugh, and she'll be like, this is what you need to do, or you're on track, thank you. And so she's always there for me, and that really means a lot for me.
Cool, that's great. Yes.
I think mentors are extremely important. My professor has kind of been my mentor, so she has helped me achieve a NASA scholarship. She's helped me get an internship working at Oak Ridge National Lab. So your mentors, they're so helpful. You never know what they know, and what opportunities may come just by talking to your mentors more and having that personal relationship.
Great, thank you. So what do you think would help students actually stay enrolled and complete their degrees? The enrollment numbers and the persistence numbers for Tennessee Promise students are better than their peers, but what do you think more could be done to help more students get all the way through and graduate?
I think if students had an incentive to graduate, it would be a lot better. I know for me, the program I'm in is the 2+2 program here, and I know for sure that when I graduate, I will be able to go and apply for a teaching job and have a chance at getting it. But there's other programs that I feel like some people are less likely to go for because they don't know if they'll have a job aligned whenever they graduate. So I feel like if we had more jobs aligned, then more students would feel more successful and be able to succeed at the end of it.
Back on the idea of internships, I definitely think it would help students to get a feel for what they really have an affinity for in the workforce, and just kind of figure out, hey, what do I want to do with the rest of my life?
Yeah, that's great. Certainly true for me. All right, well, Dr. Wise, Secretary King, I want you all to take that question as well. So how do you think states and colleges can better support students to get to and through college?
President? All right.
In your house?
So when you guys mentioned this notion of having an opportunity, so one of the things that we do at Pellissippi State to help students prepare for the transition from high school into the college is we provide a summer bridge. So first thing that went through my mind as you talked about this notion of internship, so why not have an internship bridge over the summer where you could come in and, if you're thinking about going into finance, that you could work in a bank a couple of days and try out a couple of different things to see what that sort of experience is. I think it's important for states and colleges and communities to think about the experiences necessary and the support necessary in order for students to be successful. I know one of the things that I've thought about over the last few months ago, I started my career at Pellissippi State, well, I actually started my career at Roane State one semester, but I've been in this area in community colleges for 20 years. And I think for a time, community college education has been thought of as very transactional. I'm going to go take some credits, I'm going to go get this, and then I'm going to move on. But I really think one of the things that's very powerful about Tennessee Promise is if you hear these stories, the power of community college education to be transformational, and that requires really providing the kinds of experiences. So we focus on high impact practices, whether it's internships, which we have at the end of our programs, but we need to introduce earlier is what I'm hearing today, or study abroad, or service learning, or civic engagement. Those are things that need to be embedded into community colleges because they help create citizens who are engaged and active in our communities. And we've got students starting nonprofit. This is not the only example you'll find of students starting nonprofit on this campus, and that's a very powerful agent of change, not only for individual lives, but our community as a whole.
certainly agree with everything the President said and the students around the importance of internships, summer bridge programs, counseling. A couple things I would add at the higher ed level, certainly quality advising around which courses to take, how those courses fit into your sequence. We're seeing that make a big difference. Georgia State, for example, has significantly increased their completion rates because of what I called intrusive counseling. They called it proactive counseling, but where the counselor reaches out to you after reviewing your course selection for the semester, or if you do poorly on a midterm, the counselor reaches out to you to talk about what supports you might need. Another piece at the higher ed level is a close partnership with employers. And I think it's internships, but it's also opportunities to learn about what kinds of jobs are available, how the course selection and selection of majors fits in with what employers are looking for. And the other piece I would raise, and certainly the Commissioner can speak to this, I think there's more we need to do in K-12 to make sure that students are ready. There's the work on raising academic standards so students have the writing skills, the math problem solving skills that they need to be successful when they get to campus. We know when students end up being required to take remedial classes, they're dramatically less likely to persist. Dual enrollment programs, I know that's something you're working on here, can make a big difference. Those early opportunities to be exposed to college classes. And career and technical education. And too often I think we talk about career and technical education as in tension with the pursuit of a college education. I don't think of it that way. In today's economy, you need post-secondary training to be successful. It may be a 2-year degree or a 4-year degree. It may be certificate programs along the way. And getting students into those quality career and technical education programs can be the pathway to clarity when they get to college about how their college education fits in with their career plan. And I know those are all things that Commissioner McQueen is working on.
Yeah, I think those are exactly the work that we're trying to do in K-12 to make sure that we have this alignment. And I would never underestimate the power of aligning to what the workplace needs and making sure the quality of the actual content and the faculty's knowledge of that content is really strong, because ultimately that partnership, you talked about the mentorship with your faculty member, is truly what allows the students to access the job, the career, the goals that they have. And the rigorous in K-12, making sure it's rigorous, and that's not a bad word, rigorous, it's depth, it's problem solving, it's knowing all the components that will help the student quickly and successfully access a career field because they have the depth of knowledge they need.
Great, thank you. Well, and I think from my experience, community colleges are uniquely prepared to connect to the local employers and respond to their needs, so that's really great. For all the graduates at the table, so actually, for each of the students, you all are still in classes, is that correct? Okay, great. And then, so for those of us that are graduates at the table, what advice do you have, or I guess you guys can jump in on this too, but for folks who are coming in to college now, for folks who have just been in classes for a few weeks, what advice do you have for them as they prepare for this journey that you guys are kind of midway through, and we'll give the students a chance to answer and then come back to you guys. So.
Don't be intimidated, even when it seems confusing and tough. If you persist through it, you'll realize that it's definitely worth the effort to take classes here, to get that degree, and to maybe attempt even higher education than that.
I know many students are probably really intimidated by college, because I know for me, when I started, I was very intimidated. But what I've learned is college is not just about getting a degree. It's about finding out who you are in life, and it's about getting a chance to figure out where you want your life to go. It's kind of like your blank sheet that you start from, and you shape your own life from college. Whatever you've done before then really doesn't, I don't think it matters when you start college. College is where you have your fresh start. And I think that it's important for everyone to take advantage of it, especially if you don't know what you want to do. Go to college and just take a few classes and see where it leads you.
Anybody else?
I think I'd say, just jump in, because I know I wanted to take a year off from college before, or after high school, before I wanted to start at college. But with the Tennessee Promise, it kind of goes right into it. And if I didn't have Tennessee Promise, I'd be saying, I have no idea how many loans back and paying for tuition and everything in full. So I just say, go right ahead and push you towards your career.
That's great, thank you. Any advice?
Well, as someone who was in higher ed and a lot of times was talking to freshmen about the experiences that they had in high school and how prepared they felt for the work that they were doing, we determined that the first 8 weeks of classes is when you're making a decision about whether you're going to stay or whether you're going to leave. And when we talk to students that might be thinking about leaving in those first 8 weeks, it was primarily because they didn't feel like they were prepared. They just didn't feel like I was able to do the coursework, which is why what we do in K-12 is so critical, to make sure you feel prepared and you are prepared when you are in classes. But I would give advice to, if you are in college and you are feeling that moment where, oh no, I'm not feeling like I'm prepared, go talk to your faculty members. Reach out for that support, because when you push through that, you're going to have incredible success. But reaching out to those partners, the faculty members, other students, and building that support network, particularly when you may not feel confident to do that, just do it. I think you've said it, just jump in, make it happen, because once you push through that, the door will be open to you, and you will then leave many more people behind you into college because you've been that first person who did it.
I mean, I'll tie a personal story to the commissioner's advice, which I think is very good advice. I was a terrible college student for the first year and a half, terrible. Not prepared for the academic work I was required to do. I went to an institution like this one that had a very caring and committed faculty, and they would have done anything to help me. I remember, standing outside the door of my professor's office and just could not bring myself to knock on the door. But once you kind of break through that barrier and you're willing to ask for help, you will find that you can find mentors, you can find support. And I think at a community college, you can find it inside the classroom and outside. So your mentor may be your faculty member who's teaching mechanical engineering. It may be one of the counselors. It may be somebody that's working in the advising center. It may be somebody that's serving in the cafeteria that just checks on you every day and says, hey, you're doing okay. So make sure you get connected and have that sense of community. I think one of the things that's changed at community colleges, and certainly at Pellissippi State over the years, is, again, it used to be very transactional. You came in, you took your classes, and go home. And now we have people who hang out in the trees for hours at a time classes. And that's a good thing, because they feel like this is a place that they belong. And just make sure you take advantage of that opportunity, that community.
A couple things I'd add, I think Commissioner and President are exactly right about the importance of seeking out advice and guidance and help. And I think sometimes for students, it's hard because you want to feel like you're going to do it all on your own. And so that willingness to ask for help from a professor, from a mentor, I think is critical. Picking the right friends and socializing with the right people, right? And thinking about who are people who are going to help support me in getting towards my goal. Who are folks who I can study with? I think sometimes when a class is challenging, it's incredibly helpful to be a part of a study group and to have peers who are working through the same questions and to develop those relationships. Third, start thinking about summer early. I always worry when college students are saying in April, oh, I wonder what I'm going to do this summer. That's late. You need to be thinking about the summer and the fall. Are you going to continue your classes? Are you going to get an internship? Once you figure out where you want to get an internship, making those connections and relationships. And the last piece, maybe this is because my kids, I'm that poster having kids at college, then to college. Call your parents. Check in with your parents. I knew there would be some parents.
All right,
So to Secretary King's remarks, I think spring and summer registration starts October 24th. Is that right?
Very good. So last question for the students before we do some final thoughts. Just what are your plans after you graduate? When are you graduating? What do you want to do? Where do you want to go? You guys can jump in.
I plan on graduating. I should get my AST degree either this coming spring or in the summer, depending on when I finish those classes. And I'll be able to continue with the 2+2 program through Tech. And I want to teach in inner city schools. I have a heart for inner city schools, and I actually work for the city of Knoxville's after school Parks and Recs department. So I'm really excited to see where it takes me when I graduate.
I plan to transfer to Belmont University for physical therapy, and then also get my secondary degree in community outreach.
Great.
I plan to move to Nashville and start mortuary school after that. And after I get my license to be a mortician and a funeral director, I would really like to reach out and help in drug rehabilitation centers. I really feel like drug overuse is a really bad problem, and I feel like I can help.
I plan to move on to a four-year university as well, and look into different options in, I guess, the arts and maybe theater, acting, heck, even animation. I like to make people smile. I like to make people laugh, and I just feel like I can do something to really entertain, make people happy.
That's great. I wish I had a more direct answer, but I'm definitely going on to my bachelor's in MET, my master's in something, you know. But I'm really big into additive manufacturing, which is 3D printing. I think 3D printing can take us very far in the future. Medically speaking, you know, you can print organs and all this kind of stuff to help people, bones, you know. But also in other sorts of ways, transportation. So my career is going to lead somewhere down that path. I just don't know exactly what.
That's great.
I think I'm going to follow through with the transfer path. I'm going to go to my four-year college and figure out what I want to do with myself. Because I think I guess I want to broaden my horizons and go into education because I want to open my own business. I want to open my own daycare. I think that would benefit me in the future.
All right, great. That's awesome. Any final thoughts from you all?
So just talk to your professors. You know, they're not bad people. You get a bad grade, it's not personal. You know, and you may be scared of them at first, but they're filled with knowledge more than you can possibly know, and better opportunities are going to come from it.
Don't limit yourself. You have plenty of opportunities, and the world is your oyster, so go get it.
Don't waste your community service opportunity. Find something you actually love to do and do it.
I love that. That's great.
Find someone that you can talk to. I always talk to my financial aid advisor, and she pushes me towards everything that I need to go through, like my FAFSA, and I know when the deadlines are. I know what I need to sign up for. If I need more scholarships, I go to her for everything.
That's great.
Oh, everybody else is going, so.
You have to have something.
I would definitely say take advantage of every resource that Pellissippi has to offer, which includes the tutoring services, the free tutoring services like Trio. It's been a huge help, and it's times where you're having a bad day, you're having a good day. You don't just have to go in there for tutoring. You can go in there, eat you some cookies, hang out, get ready for your next test, and just stay there. If you want to study, you can. If not, there's always people to talk to.
I feel like you should set goals for yourself. At least if you have a goal, you have something to look to, something that you're trying to reach. You're not just in college to get a degree. I think you should definitely set goals for yourself and stay motivated through the whole thing, not just the first semester, not just the second, the whole time.
President Weiss, you're clearly doing a great job. Students are wonderful. But any final thoughts?
I mean, it's very inspiring to sit here and listen to these students. I mean, I wish I could schedule more time to be around them and to be with them, because that's really what it's about at the community college. So I'm very grateful for the work our faculty and staff do to create students who understand and appreciate and willing, not only just to take advantage of the opportunity, but clearly all of these young people have an idea of how they can change our community and make it a better place, and that's inspiring. You know, I think although we've come a long way in Tennessee, clearly there's work to do. I mean, I know the conversations will start now about who didn't enroll from this year's, make that transition, you know, what kind of summer melt did we have, what can we do to make sure that when we go into Promise next fall that we get more kids enrolled, whether it's here at a community college like Pellissippi State or Rome State or Walter State or our TCAT of applied technology. You know, how do we make sure we have that alignment with local workforce, and how do we create those transfer partnerships that allow a student who's, you know, completing an associate degree to start thinking about, well, not just how they're going to finish that in their bachelor's degree, but, you know, get their master's degree and beyond. I mean, it's just laying that foundation and continuing the work, because we're not done.
Sure, I would say, just like you did today, I think listening to our students is one of the most important things we can do. Listening to what their dreams and goals are and making sure that we have an alignment that actually helps them meet those goals and dreams. I've not met a student yet, and I've met a lot of middle school and high school students in the last year who can't verbalize what I want to do, where I want to go. Now, they may need to be pushed. You may say, well, you're actually maybe underthinking about what possibilities are in front of you. But they have dreams, they have big goals. And our work is to really listen to those and make sure that we are encouraging people on these pathways that will then connect to the reality of the jobs that exist, the career fields that we have in our state, as well as the dreams that they know they want to realize. And so I think we should be encouraged by what we heard today, but also keep these types of conversations going.
Yeah, two thoughts, just maybe building on things that Tristan and Paige shared. You've been given a great opportunity, and I believe, as the Bible says, to whom much is given, much is expected. And so I look to all of you to pay forward this opportunity that you're getting here and to make sure that you find ways to be of service to the community, to connect with high school students and to try to mentor them and give them a sense of what's possible. Second piece is this kind of initiative, what Tennessee is doing around free community college, is government at its best. Government trying to help people get opportunities so that they can be their best selves. And so I hope you will get engaged in civic life and see that government can be a powerful force for good. This is a bipartisan initiative. This is Republican governors, Democratic governors, Republican mayors, Democratic mayors, Democratic president, Republicans in Congress, all who care about trying to expand higher educational opportunity for all of our citizens. And so I hope you will think about not just voting, but how you will, gotta vote, but not just voting, how you will get engaged in civic life in your community and trying to help create more opportunity for other folks. Thanks. Thanks for inspiring us.